Good morning, YouTube. It is 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas. The marathon continues. Purple, blue, glitter, extra fine, true lavender. That's what we're doing in today's project. So just like the several projects beforehand, we are doing what I already referred to as the marathon. I've got a work thing. I'm leaving in a little bit, and I'm trying to get all these projects done for you guys, so we'll have something to post every Sunday for a while. So doing purple fine glitter, a little translucent blue. Gonna put that in a small little container here, and we're gonna see what kind of color we get out of it. And by the thumbnail, you guys already know it is this cool, awesome, translucent, like aqua color. I kind of like it. So getting that epoxy mixed up, putting in the purple just a little bit, and then we're just gonna come hit it with a little bit of dye. Actually, that was quite a bit of dye, actually. And then we're gonna take a little popsicle stick, mix that all up, and we're gonna get this cool translucent blue color. I love this color. I love it. Can't wait to come back and do this larger. So getting that all mixed up, all nice and neat, putting that all over, making sure that we're getting everything incorporated into the epoxy itself. 4.5 hours in the pressure pot, and we get this cool aquamarine color. This looks amazing. I really love this color. Too bad it's a little smaller than most of our projects. Unfortunately, the projects coming up are a little bit on the small side, but you can still see that cool color. You can still see that cool glitter sparkle in it. Love how this turned out. So we're gonna get that put onto the lathe. First, we got to put on the waste block. Bam, there that is, fits perfectly in there. And then we're gonna come back and put the faceplate on. Don't be stingy with your hot glue, just like I always say. That's super important. Gonna get that smushed down real nice and tight, and then come back, hit it with the edges with my hot glue gun. If you don't have a hot glue gun, get a hot glue gun. It's an amazing tool. So once we get that on, bam, the faceplate magically appears. That was actually a pretty cool transition shot. And now we're going to go ahead and screw that down. Make sure to put the screws in. I don't know where I was going there. Sorry, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm halfway awake while I'm doing this commentary. So my apologies. So just make sure that's on there really well. And then we're just going to go ahead and throw that on the lathe there. Boop. Spin that little guy. Make sure the lathe is engaged. That's super important. And you can see that cool color. I love how this looks. So a little bit later, get everything onto the lathe, and now we're going to start taking off that superficial layer like we usually do. And you can see by my hand there and on the left side of the screen, we're getting really good ribbons off, really good material. Absolutely always a good thing when you get that Spider-Man webbing type of effect there. That's how you know you got a good piece of epoxy. So getting that superficial layer off, trying to make everything nice and even, coming back with the round and medium-sized gouge there, and now we're just trying to get everything nice and even so that we can flip this over on the lathe. Actually, we got to take the tailstock off and then smooth out the bottom there. So we're just doing a little bit of finer edge work right there. You can see the difference in the shavings when we're just doing small, shallower strokes there. So once we remove the tailstock, now we're just making the round bottom, getting everything nice and flush. And by this time, I'm pretty happy how this turns out. Not a whole lot of problems from what I can remember, but this is my first time watching the actual edit of the video, so we might see a little bit later. But from what I can remember, this went relatively actually, I think I had a problem here with the mortise. I think I had a little bit of chip out on the bottom portion of it. I don't know if I was just a little too aggressive with the chisels, but I believe we had a little bit of an issue here. If I could, yeah, there it is. Usually when I jerk back like that, you can see that I had a little bit of chip out, was a little too aggressive, or just hit a bad piece of epoxy, or the banjo or the angle of my chisel wasn't at the appropriate angle, so you get a little bit of that. So a lot of different factors go into those kinds of mistakes, but obviously we corrected it because by the thumbnail, you know that we got it done. So just came back, did a little bit of finer work, remeasuring the tailstock there, and now we're just going to clean up that edge because you can see a little bit where the chip out occurred. So we just want to make sure everything is nice and even and flush before we flip that on the chuck. And got to clean that up a little bit, and by this time I'm pretty happy with it. So go ahead, take the faceplate off, and now we can get that reversed in the chuck, and then we can start working on getting that faceplate off, or the waste block off, and then we can come back and start the gouging portion of it. So for this part, make sure everything is nice and tight, because what you don't want is anything flying off the lathe. So here we are, taking off that piece of pine, real soft, real easy to take off. We do this for all of our projects here. Just taking the large gouge and the large round carbide tool. working down the material, removing that tailstock as security, and now we're just going to take layer by layer off, and this part went real easy, not a whole lot of issues there. And then coming back with the square carbide tool, and boop, there it goes. So now we're just going to get everything nice and flush before we start the actual gouging portion of it, and making sure that everything is nice and even so that we can start the gouge portion of it. And you can see there me putting the tool on top of it, just making sure everything is nice and even. So working our way out, and you can see just already getting like cotton candy ribbons off of this, real nice, easy. Now we're just making sure that we're hitting a depth that we want, and this went relatively smooth. The great thing about doing these all epoxy projects is that once you get a good line on where the epoxy is itself, you can just really just start to gouge it, take your time, hit the edges, work from the outside in, and then just try to get to a depth that you like, and then get the side lips of the bowl to a nice thickness that you're comfortable with. And I like mine a little thinner for the lips of the bowl, especially with these smaller projects. I think it looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing when you're done with the actual project itself. The larger bowls, I tend to do a little bit of a bigger lip sometimes. Just depends on the actual epoxy itself. But by this time, I'm pretty happy. This is one of many projects I'm doing in the garage. You can see all the good ribbons we're getting off. And this, like I said, in all of these videos, this is an accumulation. So as you're watching these videos, this is an accumulation of projects within the past 2.5 weeks. So those are all the epoxy shavings from all of the other projects I did before this in the marathon. So getting everything picked up is just kind of unrealistic for what I want to do. So coming back, hitting it with some sandpaper, 320 all the way up to 1500, and then we're going to come back and hit it with the micro mesh, do a little bit of wet sanding, and the wet sanding is where you make your money. You can see how translucent everything is. Everything is nice and smooth. You get that cool, you know, blue lagoon kind of color. I might call this the Blue Lagoon bowl. That's actually a pretty good color for it. That's it, Blue Lagoon. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So getting the wood wax on there, getting everything polished up, nice and neat. That really makes that color pop. You can really see just what it looks like once everything is nice and polished. Looks absolutely amazing. Again, I'm gonna come back and do these projects bigger, better, larger when I have a lot more time to commit to it. But really happy the way this turned out. Had a little bit of issue with the mortise, but overall really happy how this turned out. Really cool, translucent Blue Lagoon kind of color. And you'll see here after we're done polishing this up, just how beautiful this looks. So I hope you guys are enjoying this marathon series of me building these smaller projects and getting just as much out of them as the larger ones. So here we are at the end, blue translucent. You can see how beautiful that color looks. Absolutely loved it. So hope you guys got something out of it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe, like, all that stuff that every YouTuber says, and I'll see you guys in the next project. Peace.
Okay, so this is a real rush job. Project is done, and look at this little guy. Did not come out as shiny as I wanted to. I really thought this was going to be a lot more translucent and clear. It looks really cool, don't get me wrong, but I probably could have spent a little bit more time sanding. I am just in this time crunch right now, trying to get these on. The marathon has got me working. I've got 50 million things going on right now. It's hard being a woodworker and an adult at the same time, let me tell you. So here it is. I don't even know which number of projects. It's probably like 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. Looks really cool though, don't get me wrong. It looks really awesome. We're gonna come back and we're gonna do it bigger, of course. I'm gonna call this like the aquamarine bowl or something like that. So hope you guys liked it. Hope you got something out of it. We ended up fixing that mortise after it exploded. So hope you guys liked it. Hope you enjoyed it, all that good stuff. The marathon continues. The marathon is, today is like March 15th, I think. Hold on, let me consult my phone. March 15th, yeah. Got this one done. You guys are probably watching this in July or August. So here it is, all done. All right, anyway, I'm just rambling. I hope you liked it. Hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.